What's up, Goy Squad? Famox here from Game on Your Face, and this is the first episode of NHL 15's Best. So to kick off the series, we got a special episode as we recap the top legends in the game. The rankings will be based on my overall grade that I gave them in their individual player reviews, which means it's the average of their 5 attributes combined. So the top spot won't go to the guy that got the most points, it'll go to the one that is the best all around. But again, this is just the recap of the reviews I already did. If you want to see those reviews, check the description. I left the links there, but let's get to it.
This video is brought to you by Hot Puck Traders for all your hot puck needs.
At number 11, we have Doug Gilmour with his grade of 64%. Gilmour was very underwhelming. His greatest asset was his skating. He was fast and agile, however everything else was below average. His passing and his shooting were inconsistent, and he was easily thrown around the ice. He also doesn't have the face-off chops to make it as a first-line center, winning only 28 out of his 51 draws. Number 10, Eric Lindros with a 68% overall grade. Lindros was extremely slow, and while he had a powerful shot, it was very inaccurate. His skating and stick movement felt clunky, and his only redeeming feature was his physicality. But in the end, there are plenty of other physical guys that can provide a higher offensive output than Lindros and come with a cheaper price tag. Number 9, Joe Sakic, 73%. I would classify Sakic as mediocre. He had a decent wrist shot and can hold his own on the physical side, but his skating and deking really bring him down. He feels very sluggish with his stick and with his skates. However, his playmaking ability was outstanding, and he was great in the defensive end. Like I said in his review, he's a lesser version of John Tavares. Number 8, Jari Kurri with 74%. Kurri has some amazing hands. He's very quick, smooth, and most importantly, effective when executing his dekes. His great hands also translated well in the defensive zone, allowing him to intercept passes and make clean poke checks. Unfortunately, he struggled with every other aspect of his game. He lacked any form of speed or power with his skating, and the same went for his shot. He was also weak on his skates, so it didn't take much to knock him off the puck. Number 7, the Russian Rocket, Pavel Bure, with a 77%. Bure is definitely the fastest player in the game. There might be some close contenders, but no one is faster. He's also very quick with his stick and knows how to pick corners. Unfortunately, his speed does come with a cost, and that's his small size. It doesn't take much to knock Bure off the puck or even send him flying to the ice. So while he's very skilled offensively, his physicality brings him down. Number 6, Mike Bossy with a 78%. Bossy has that goal scorer's touch. His shot is among the best in the game. Even when skating at full speed, he can find a spot and put the puck exactly where he wants. And don't underestimate his skating. Even though his card has him at an 85, he performs much better than that when he's on the ice. But just like Bure, Bossy is a very weak player. He'd very easily get crunched or even injured. On top of that, he didn't have the greatest discipline and got 4 penalties in just 7 games. Now we're into the top 5 with Mario Lemieux at 79%. Unlike the 3 before him, Lemieux is very strong on his skates. At 6'4", 225, he's definitely got a monstrous frame, and you can feel it when you're crushing your opponents into the boards. But he differs from Lindros in that he can do much more than just bruise bodies. Surprisingly, he can skate pretty fast when he's fresh on the ice, and he's got a brilliant shot as well. Add to that his solid defensive play, and you've got yourself a pretty well-rounded player. His only flaw is his slow stick handling, but he's still got good puck control, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Number 4, Mike Modano, 81%. Modano was probably the biggest surprise of all legends on the list. He was much better than I ever expected. His skating is top notch and he plays a very solid defensive game. He's also very quick with his stick on the same level as Patrick Kane. But it doesn't end there. Modano has a very reliable wrist shot, and to top it off, he's got great balance, so it's hard to knock him off the puck. He's really the only player I reviewed that didn't have any significant weak points. Number 3, Nicklas Lidstrom at 81%. Lidstrom is a very strong two-way defender. He can start the play with his breakout pass, he can lead the rush with his speed, he has the resilience to take some punishment, and of course at the core of it all, he can stop your opponents in his tracks with his legendary defensive ability. However, he's not the kind of defender that will deliver those big hits or whale clappers from the point. In the offensive zone, he's better suited to be the passer and not the scorer. At number 2, we got the great one himself, Wayne Gretzky, with another 81%. When it comes to puck skills, there was no one better than Gretzky. He's a wizard with the dangles, and his passes always hit the mark. He's also very fast and agile, so he can stop and turn on a dime. But what makes Gretzky great is that he's just as good on the defensive side of his game. His faceoffs got the highest percentage out of any player I've reviewed this year at 79%. He also has an effective poke check that he uses to intercept opposing passes. However, it's not all good for Gretzky. The reason he didn't get a higher rating was because he's just as weak as Bure, and while his shot is pretty accurate, it lacks the power to make it efficient. And the number one overall legend with an 82% is Ray Bourque. If you're looking for a player that excels both offensively and defensively, then I strongly suggest considering Bourque. When on the attack, he can use his Datsuk-like hands to weave past opponents and throw a nice sauce to set up a goal, or utilize his speed to pinch and snipe at top shelf with his great wrist shot accuracy. But don't think Bourque's talents are limited to the offensive zone. His poke check and positioning were just as good as Lidstrom's. The only areas he runs into trouble are his discipline and physicality. But even though he can't throw a hit, he's still got decent balance, so he's pretty good at withstanding them. So there you have it, the legends ranked from 1 to 11 based on my own personal experience with them. Like I said in the beginning, if you want to see more in-depth info on them, then you can check out their individual reviews, which I'll leave in the description. But don't go yet, because I have a bit of an announcement to make. I've had some guys asking for a way to see all the grades for all the players I've reviewed, so right now is the unveiling of the new website, GameOnYourFace.com. The site has a chart for all my reviews so you can compare the players by each stat. Puck skills, skating, shooting, physical, and defensive to see how each player stacks up. There are also pages for my Hut Lottery series so you can see my up-to-date roster. The site is where I will have all the player review votes and the Hut Lottery bets, so it will all be organized in one nice place. So definitely go check that out and tell me what you guys think. And before I go, I know some of you are wondering about Luc Robitaille. I did mention in an older video that I wasn't going to review him. I did play him, however, and I'd say he's probably the worst of the bunch. Felt like a grinder, very slow. So just in case you were wondering, he would be number 12 if I were to put him in. So that's episode 1 of NHL 15's Best. Feel free to leave a suggestion for other top 5 or top 10s that I could do. I'm Famox from Game On Your Face, and I'll see you in the next one.